Are we live?
Let me see.
Hey, can you guys see us in chat? This is, if you can, I'm Sandy Petersen, and this is...
Larry Correia.
There you go. The man from the distant land of Korea between China and Japan. However, I was in an interview earlier this week with the Red Room. I know it sounds ominous, but there's some guys from Portugal, and they tried to claim you were Portuguese.
I am actually Portuguese. Yes, my ancestry is Portuguese.
How many generations ago?
One.
Your dad was from Portugal?
Well, no, actually, I'm sorry. My dad was born here. So my dad was the first one born here. My grandpa.
So your grandpa was from another country.
Yeah. So my grandpa.
Yeah,
well, actually,
so
my
was
grandpa
mine.
and grandma were from the Azores.
Okay. Well, I mean, my grandpa was from another country too, but I still claim myself as American.
Oh yeah, I'm American. Obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm like
yes.
I'm like obnoxiously super American, but I am Portuguese by ancestry.
Okay. All Portuguese or just
half? So basically the side that the culture that I was raised in was a little Portuguese town in California called El Nido, and it was so I was raised in well, it's Merced County. And then my mom is Polish and English is what she is by ancestry.
I'm just told I need to turn up my microphone, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I know how to turn up my sound.
Am I okay?
You seem okay to me. I mean, there's a microphone icon at the bottom. There's a sound icon too. I'll turn that up. Maybe that'll just make the sound louder. Microphone access. I assume that's not what it wants. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So here I am, and can you hear me? Okay. Verse, chorus, verse says he can hear me, and that's the only person I care about. No, Todd Reiner says Larry. I don't know if he's saying he wants Larry loud and Sandy quiet, or that's what we are. But regardless, so my one line of my folks were Danish, living in Racine, Wisconsin, which is where the Danes settled to find other Danes in America, and it's not very Danish anymore.
My wife is Danish. That's her ancestry. According to her DNA test, she's more Scandinavian than the average Scandinavian. She got all the Scandinavian DNA.
Wow. Well, I have plenty of other DNA besides Scandinavian, but the part that gave me my last name is Scandinavian.
Yeah, she has other ancestry too, but just like when the genes are passed down, the Danes won everything. Basically, they won every coin toss.
Well, there used to be a Danelaw ruling all of England, so those were the days, or much of England.
Yeah, well, because her maiden name's Litchford, which is English, and
that's very English, yeah.
Oh yeah, super English, but like genetically, she's just all Danish.
Well,
and
the thing to remember about Racine, Larry, if you want your wife to go back to her roots, is that you can order kringles there, which, as you know, are a famous Danish pastry that is considered desirable.
I'm all in on pastry.
Well, Danish kringle, is it's a flattish pastry in a circle that you cut chunks of, stuffed in the middle, and then it's got the Danish like frosting and everything, and flaky pastry, and then whatever's inside of it is you pick different things: raspberry, pecan, anything like that. And you get a whole one shipped to you, and then you put it in your freezer, and then later on you bring it out when your in-laws aren't around, and you eat it.
I'm down.
They have a Kringle of the Month club, but that's not good because you need more than one a month usually. But it's Kringle spelled like Kris Kringle with a K.
I would fill the gaps for the other 29 days, with other things.
Yeah. Well, my wife was in Portugal for a year and a half on her mission, converting the wicked heathens of Portugal. But my experience in Portugal was that the driver from the airport to our hotel cheated us. So we were there for one night. It was partly made up for because they had grilled octopus at the hotel.
I've actually never been. I've never been to Portugal. I've been to Europe. I've been to like 5 different countries, but I've never been to Portugal.
I guess I can
yet.
count the ones I've been to, but I've been to a bunch. The most weird I thought was Luxembourg because it was pretty clearly designed by a theme park engineer. We went to one town in Luxembourg, and there was literally a waterfall in the middle of town with the houses on each side and bridges going over the waterfall and under behind it. And then there was a tunnel you had to go through and a lake the town all clustered around. And it's like, this thing is so quaint. It like almost like my diabetes was acting up, you know?
It was designed for maximum quaintness.
And plus they have their own secret language they don't teach to outsiders, so they can make financial decisions without the Germans and English and French weighing in.
Now, I've been to France, I've been to Germany, I've been to England, but never been to Luxembourg.
How about Poland or Finland?
Never been to Poland or Finland. I spent a bit of time in the Czech Republic, though.
Okay, I've made it there. So here's the advantage of Poland. Okay, when you go to Poland, by and large, they love Americans. They remember Reagan helping them break free, right? And so
I've heard that Poland is kind of like Euro Texas.
Well, you could say that. But the thing is, all those anti-American bruises and contusions you get from going through France and England and Germany, the Poles kind of massage out of you. You know? And then they have basically the exact same food as Germany, pardon me if you're Polish, except like a third the price. So that was nice too.
No, I am part Polish too, is the thing, but I've never been there. And so it's funny, all the countries that have ancestry I haven't been to. You know, that's how it goes. But
well, I haven't been to Denmark. But I did send my kids there on their honeymoon. So we should talk about things that the fans want to hear. So you have a Kickstarter.
I do, yes. It's we got 1 week left.
How long did you set it up for, if I can ask?
A month. And so we launched 3 weeks ago. We're at $250,000 right about. And it's done pretty good. And it's for a new book called American Paladin, which is a new series by me, coming out from Arc Press, and it's the book and the graphic novel.
I'm coming closer to the camera so they can hear me better. Okay, Protostar says, wait, a Kickstarter for what? For a book?
Yes, book. A graphic novel. You can also get the audio book on there, and they also have fancy editions. Plus, we have merchandise, of course, you know, because you got to have that, T-shirts and
so your audio book,
mugs.
Is it some guy reading the book, or is it have like
the audio effects? The audio book is actually it's one guy reading the book, but the guy we got to read the book is the actor Nick Searcy, who is awesome.
I know who he is.
Oh yeah, Nick's been in everything.
Big fan of Justified.
Oh yeah, huge fan of Justified. That's probably what he's best known for. But he's been in a ton of things, and he's also done a lot of westerns. And so this is kind of a modern American westerns. So having Nick do the audiobook is pretty rad.
Yeah, a couple of guys are saying my mic was. I don't know how to up my mic.
Does it have a knob on it, like a manual knob?
I click on the bottom of my screen in Google Chrome. It says "Microphone in use" by OBS Studio, and I click on that, and I get the settings comes up, and none of the settings are a knob to increase it.
I'm computer illiterate. I don't know.
I'm one of the guys in the thing can tell us, but sorry about that. Turn up your audio. You can hear me, and Larry can blast your eardrums out. So American Paladin has Nick Searcy reading for it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm very excited. If you want me to, I can whisper the rest of the thing if you can yell, and we can probably even it.
They can turn their speakers up. That's what I think. And then they can just put their fingers in the ears when you talk. Like I do.
That works.
Okay. So
get some foamy earplugs.
Yeah. So do you feel the Kickstarter has been a success for you?
It has actually. So day one we funded in 45 seconds, and we had a spectacular day one, and we're actually on track to do really well. But then day two, the morning was going really good, and then I don't want to get into it, but like current events kind of rock the world, and everybody quit paying attention to Kickstarter, obviously, and nothing wrong with that, understandable. So we got kind of stymied there, but we got kind of back in the saddle, and it's been moving along, and so overall, yeah, it's been. I think pretty successful. I was a little bummed because like we were on track to do much larger, but you know how that is because you get that Kickstarter momentum going right at the beginning.
Where I'm very familiar with Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, you've been through a ton. You know, where you get that thing where it's going and you get where people start sharing it and the Kickstarter starts promoting it. So we were heading into that on day 2 and then just blah. And so it's done well. It's successful, but I don't know what it would have been if we were just having a normal month.
Yeah. I do want to make sure everyone knows I'm not drinking Coke. I'm drinking Dr. Pepper because Dr. Pepper is the drink.
I am drinking Coke Zero, so I got you.
You got to switch. Dr. Pepper is well, I guess it's the Texas nectar. Utah, everyone seems to like root beer or White Monster.
I'm a Coke Zero guy. I've written books by the power of 10,000 Coke Zeros. So Coke Zero is my drug.
Dr. Pepper's name and see if this converts you. It probably won't, but it's worth a try. Okay.
Oh, I've tried Dr. Pepper, and I like all the weird Dr. Pepper like cream soda flavors.
Oh yeah. Well, I got cherry
coconut,
here, right?
The coconut one and the strawberry one. Those are pretty baller.
Cherry. That means it's virginal. This is the one that hasn't known a man. So here's the story of Dr. Pepper. Okay, it's told to me by a guy that worked for Dr. Pepper, so I'm sure it's true. The guy worked as a soda jerk in Dr. Pepper's pharmacy. Okay, and in those days, that's where you got your sodas. You go to the pharmacy and they'd squirt the sodas into, they'd make your soda for you. Okay, so he wanted to marry Dr. Pepper's daughter, but he was a soda jerk. So no way, right? Dr. Pepper's not going to marry his daughter after some soda jerk. So he says, I'm going to go off and make my fortune and come back. And so he leaves and he develops a soda. And the goal is for Dr. Pepper, what it's supposed to taste like is a old time soda fountain with all the different syrups and stuff. That's what it's supposed to taste like. What those smell like when you go into an oldie, which no one ever does anymore, so no one knows what it tastes. But that's what it's supposed to be. Okay, so he goes in. So he goes away, he makes millions, and he comes back and says, now I can marry the daughter. And Dr. Pepper says, nah, you're still a soda jerk. He even named it after Dr. Pepper to soften his heart. And Dr. Pepper says, nope, and she didn't marry him, and he went off and married someone else and became rich. And so the thing is, I can't decide if I'm sad because of the tragic love story or I'm kind of proud of Dr. Pepper for sticking to his guns, but those are both defendable.
Well, it just depends on the quality of the girl he wound up marrying. If she was a step up, then good for him.
Well,
good for the soda jerk. I'm rooting for the little guy.
Well, I mean, he was the millionaire, so Dr. Pepper was the little guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, this gets very confusing here. But yes, the originally named Dr. Pepper is the little guy at the end of the story. Well, I don't know. I just hope the soda jerk had a long and happy life with the new girl.
Okay. So I want you guys to know I have had a chance to play with Larry Correia in one of my Call of Cthulhu games.
Oh, it was fun.
And I fried him in nuclear fire.
Oh, dude, it was. I actually committed.
He fried himself, I guess.
I committed suicide in nuclear fire, in a spiteful, bureaucratic way.
I guess I assigned him to be an EU bureaucrat, which he took to like a duck to water.
My thing on anytime I'm playing a role-playing game and I'm given a role to play, I will embrace it fully, regardless of what it is.
So
I go whole hog.
So I'm going to tell you, 2 weeks ago, my granddaughter, who's 15, says, Grandpa, run a Call of Cthulhu game for me and my friends. So I'm running a Call of Cthulhu game for a bunch of teen girls. Okay?
Oh, nice.
And I said, okay, this is going to be appropriate for them. So I made up a scenario called The Haunted Sleepover. and they did girl things. And there was some spooky stuff, but no one got burned by nukes. So,
Oh, man. I've run games for my kids, and I have been shocked how hyper violent murder hobos my children were, even at a young age. And girls, half my kids are girls too, and the girls, oh my gosh, my girls are like, my girls have committed some war crimes in role-playing games.
What do you run for them? D&D or Pathfinder or?
It's various ones over the years. I've run D&D. I've run L5R because I love the samurai stuff. Mm-hmm. Actually, I've run Savage Worlds. I've run a lot of Savage Worlds with the kids. Never actually ran any Call of Cthulhu with the kids though.
Well, it turned out it worked out really well for them. They'd never heard of it, but because it's in modern times, I just said it in modern times, and they know how to be a private eye. They know what the world's like. I don't have to explain anything about the background. So
what? Hang on, I'm being interrupted by my 13-year-old. Are you podcasting? Yes, I'm podcasting. What did he think I was doing here?
Talking to yourself like old crazy guys do, right?
I guess. I'm like, okay. I have no idea. He was like, are you podcasting? I was like, what do you think I'm doing on this screen full of faces?
So, RamFam1701 says he's going to run my adventure, The Derelict, at Gamehole Con, wherever that is. So the Derelict is an adventure I used to run at conventions all the time. And I ran it at so many conventions, I kind of made the rounds, and then I couldn't run it anymore because everyone had seen it. So I put it in, I put it into a book, and now people.
Oh, nice.
So I had to. Once a year, I got to make up a new adventure. Then I run that for a year. Then I go to. Except my home campaign is different, but
I've run at a lot of conventions. I will do the charity game where they'll auction off seats, mm-hmm. where I'm like the guest on or whatever at a con, and they'll auction off seats to be in my role playing game. And I'll do usually 6 people, and I've been running a homebrew game called Gritty Cop Show, and it's okay. The title describes what the game is. Right, it's a pretty basic system that people can learn pretty quick, and it's more cinematic than crunchy.
So you have to pick your dark backstory first.
Yes,
and then,
actually, and all the character advantages and disadvantages are just cop show cliches and tropes.
So either they're a rookie or they're a guy 2 days from retirement who's already got his ranch picked out he's going to, and this guy has a bullet with his name on it right there.
Yeah, and then literally, I mean, every line everyone is named after a line stolen from a cop show.
Sure.
And then what I usually do is the adventure itself is I'll run the plot of a cop show or cop movie and just change the names and locations. And usually about halfway through the adventure, they'll realize like, oh wait, this is the movie Heat, or oh wait, this is LA Confidential. And I've done that over the years. So that's been my go-to, and everybody knows the cliche. Plus, I'm a science fiction fantasy author,
right?
So nobody knows what to expect when I run a gritty cop show for them.
Like episode 17 of Justified or something, and then everyone's down with that.
Oh, I've done Justified. I've straight up stolen things from Justified. I've got lines in there from Luther. Basically, if it's a gritty cop show, I've stolen from it. I've got things from Blue Bloods in there,
Okay, well, Wendy and I went through every episode of NYPD Blues back in the day, and I can't think of his name, but the old Polish guy, he was our absolute idol.
Sipowicz.
Yes, Slivowitz, but he's a real person with a name, but he was so good, and I was so happy to see him there because he's not handsome, he's not charming, he's just this guy. He's kind of got a temper, and I loved that. We just started watching Broadchurch, and I love the female lead is not cute. That really hit home for me, right? Made her seem realistic.
That's. Cops are pretty normal looking in real life.
Yeah, on my mission, which was in Los Angeles, converting the horrible pagans of Los Angeles, the best thing to split up with in our areas was with cops that were members, because they knew every street. We didn't have street maps like now, right? We had a map that we had to go through, but we didn't have Google Maps, and so we had to find places, and the cops always made it feel safe.
I was back in the paper map days, and I was in Alabama, and one of my assignments for 4 months was I had an unlimited mile vehicle, and so me and my companion were the ones that delivered the, people would order stuff off the television ads,
yeah.
And so, But Alabama's so rural. We've had people who lived out in the middle of nowhere in the forest and the swamps, and so we were the ones that drove around all over Alabama. Basically, I lived out of a car for 4 months, and I got to some out of the way places. And this was pre-GPS. This was having it on your phone. So I just had a paper map. And I tell you, there's some places in Alabama that aren't. I mean, that would fit very much in a Call of Cthulhu scenario.
Yeah, you're going to be out there with skunk apes and stuff, back down to the bayou, right? Giant.
Yeah, I never. Alligators. Oh man, I wanted to see a skunk ape so bad. Never did.
Those are scary things. Those aren't like Bigfoot. Bigfoot wants to hide. Skunk apes want to kill you. They tear the doors off trucks.
I stuck skunk apes in my first book because of living in Alabama, and I was like, "Wow, there's skunk apes out there. I've never seen one."
Absolutely, and I know skunk apes are either supernatural or alien oriented, unlike Bigfoot, which might be an animal, because like UFOs appear around them, and they appear in places they can't be. Those skunk apes are. I have a whole video about skunk apes because they're so weird.
Man, I love cryptid stuff. I just love that stuff. I can't help it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm such a nerd.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I got to go to Scotland. I made sure to take the tour of Loch Ness.
Oh yeah, I've never. Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool. I don't have if I had to rank the ones that I think are likely, I think Nessie's down towards the bottom. But
well, she was a lot likelier before everyone had cell phones, and then it became clear that we got more photos of her.
Yeah, people ask me, like, hey, do you think Bigfoot's real? And my answer is like, I don't know, but I want him to be.
Well, I mean, the more supernatural it is, the likelier it is to be real, I figure, because if they were natural animals, we'd have spotted them by now, some of them, unless they're deep sea things or they're on Pluto or whatever. So,
my daughter, one of my daughters, her theory was the aquatic Bigfoot theory. That's why we don't find them. Is they go into the ocean to die, or they go into lakes.
Yeah, that could be.
I love cryptid stuff. Every time there's a new Bigfoot video, I'm on it. I'm watching it. I love that stuff.
Bigfoot is okay, I guess. I'm a little burnt on him because I had a boss that was really interested in Bigfoot, and the guy was a complete jerk. So, anyway, so
don't let the haters sour you.
Well, he wasn't a hater. He loved Bigfoot. I just hated him.
Okay. I got you.
So someone early on said that there's two grognards. Are you a grognard?
Grognard is like old school D&D nerd.
Old school war game nerd. It used to be. Is it now D&D?
Oh, I always heard
war games.
I always heard grognard in reference to old school D&D. But
well,
I love war games.
Started out as war games. I know that.
Yeah, chainmail or turned into chainmail. No, I'm a old school role playing nerd and a war game nerd. Though I dodged the 40K bug. I wasn't a 40K player, but I
avoided that too. The miniature figures are, like I said, I have plenty of expensive hobbies. I don't need to drop $10,000 on.
I have painted 5,000 minis. In fact, I wonder if I could. But I played Infinity, the war game. And I'm curious if I could move my webcam without like screwing this all up to show just kind of like one section of my office here.
Shot,
Okay, so those are all painted armies. And if I look over at the other side of my office, on top of those shelves, those are all painted armies.
Okay, so I was about to say I have 10 times that, but if you add the other shot, then I may only have 5 times that.
Oh no, and that's but just what I can reach.
Mine are all for role-playing games, not for war games. They're like
it keeps going. Like it keeps going down.
Well, you might have surpassed me then, but
I painted a lot.
So I got my painting days are older because my eyes are 70 years old, but I have many of them painted by other people and some by me, and they're pretty much all for role-playing. I have heroes and investigators and monsters and creatures. It's kind of now they're all locked up because I had to move back home to Utah to take care of my dad who's now 97. But someday I will break into them and I'll have a million figures again, including a giant set of a couple hundred uh, plastic figures from Starship Troopers, the movie.
Oh, nice, nice. I've I played War Machine, and so from that I have just tons of minis. Just tons of minis are from D&D. Tons. Well, Infinity's a sci-fi game, so I've got thousands and thousands of sci-fi minis. I do actually have a set of investigators from Call of Cthulhu from a campaign that we played about 10 years ago with that, and several monsters that I painted for that, and cultists and bad guys. And then I've got a ton of Western minis because I ran a Deadlands campaign twice. And then I've got several hundred samurai minis from painting. Because I actually ran a L5R campaign that went for 3 years, and we were pretty hardcore on that one. And yeah, I've painted a lot. I haven't painted much for the last couple of years though. Once again, my eyes are getting crappy too. I'm 50, and I really only have time for like one hobby at a time.
But you have kids; you can have them paint them now. So
actually, one of my youngest is a mini painter, and so my youngest is painting minis like pretty hardcore, and he's got his own D&D group. It's a bunch of 12 and 13-year-olds, and he's painting minis, and yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoy it. Like I won painting contests. Like I'm pretty good at it. I was like a pretty high level. I'd be like a low level studio painter skill wise, but I'm pretty good. And no, I've won
a
it. I've won a few.
Amateur painter. I am not. I'm a mid to low level amateur. Good enough to play in my role playing games, you know. And of course, my skill's plenty good for blob monsters. You have to do lots of washes and dry brushes and.
Oh yeah, paint it brown.
You don't need eyes and ears for those guys.
I've painted monsters in like minutes before the guys got here to run a game. It's like, oh, I need 50 skeletons. Oh boy, white dip. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing how far you can get with just painted with a solid color, and then just a simple wash, and then presto, it looks good. So back in the day, grognard, at least in California where I was living then, it was most often applied to people that played the old Avalon Hill at SPI and Victory Games board games with the cardboard counters, because those guys, which I am one of, are Looney Tunes. So they get down to this giant game and stare at it for hours, and the turns take forever. Like, if it's my turn, next 45 minutes is just me while you go off and take a dump or have a meal. Then you come back and examine the board, then it's my turn to wander off. But
I missed that.
Me. It's beyond
I didn't do that. So my first gaming experience was when I was young, was like D&D Red Box. And so I did role-playing games before I did war games. I didn't do war games until I was older.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, I started before there was role-playing games, because I was doing it in the 60s. And role-playing games came by in 1974, which I was there with the first D&Ds, right? Playing it at the Wilkinson Center at Brigham Young University with my buddies, trying to figure out how all this stuff worked. We didn't even have polyhedral dice. We had to use chips. We drew them out of a cup.
If I recall the Sandy Petersen lore, you were the guy that was using Cthulhu monsters, and to the point that they're like, we need a Cthulhu expert. Hey, there's this kid in Utah. if I'm recalling this right.
Well, Call of Cthulhu, yeah. What had happened is I'd done a book of monsters for RuneQuest for Chaosium. RuneQuest. I'd done a book of monsters for him. And in one of the chapters was Lovecraft monsters, because I love Lovecraft. And that was the first time Lovecraft ever appeared in a game. And then they said, will you do our game Call of Cthulhu? And I was like, will I? I will, right, is the answer. And he told me later on the reason they picked me for it is because they knew I loved Lovecraft. That was the first thing. And they did not. They thought Lovecraft was a hack, like everyone that hadn't read him. I mean, Lovecraft's like the Book of Mormon. You don't have to read it to have an opinion, right? So they hadn't read him, but they thought he was a hack. But they knew I loved it. And they're smart. They knew that if they did it, they would be all snarky about it and make fun of it. The way that what you see in Batman Forever and Superman 3, when you have some guy take over the superhero thing that doesn't love the superhero and thinks no one can take this seriously, and so they ruin it, right?
Yeah.
So, but they knew I would love it. And the second reason was that I'd shown that I could write things, and the third is I'd never missed a deadline. So
Yep.
I thought like 2,000 people would buy this thing, and it would vanish, and I had done a Lovecraft game, you know, and that would be cool. And then what happened is that it inspired people all over the country are like, I read Lovecraft because of your game. I wrote, you know, I think
Oh yeah.
that was boosted
I
later on when Stuart Gordon made his Lovecraft movies, you know, Reanimator, From Beyond. But I did it first, and that was what did it. So the reason that you can have Lovecraft in your Monster Hunter is partly because of me.
Oh yeah, and credit where credit's due, because I discovered Lovecraft because I read Robert E. Howard. So I didn't come into it, but a lot of people my age came into Lovecraft because of Call of Cthulhu.
Yes,
the game.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing: Lovecraft, in his connection to Robert E. Howard, like Lovecraft was the first guy that I can find that did the shared world thing, where he got other authors to use his monsters and books and places in their work. So Robert E. Howard used it, Clark Carson Smith used it, Robert Bloch used it. All these guys, Frank Bellerblanc, they're all using Lovecraft stuff. I think that was the first time that was done. Lovecraft was really ahead of his time. He was super active in the Amateur Press Association, which is like the Twitter of his day, you know.
Yeah. I thought it was bad. So I got sucked in just because I was reading Robert E. Howard because I was a kid and I was like, wow, this stuff is super badass, and it's very much my style. But then I read, I think it was The Thing from the Mound, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. And then I started looking into it, and I was like, whoa, he did horror stuff too. And this Lovecraft guy and he said this Lovecraft guy was like the best of that. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll check Lovecraft out. I can't remember what the first one I read was, but it was something I was like, oh, that is the creepiest thing I've ever read. That is so scary.
Yeah, Lovecraft. It was bizarre. So I don't know if you ever read. There was a story that they wrote, and I'm trying to think of the name of it, but the Something from Beyond, and it was a round table story where people would take turns writing it, right? And so for Lovecraft section, the guy is sucked through to another world, and he wakes up and looks at himself in the mirror, and he's a hideous centipede monster, and he faints. Then the next section is Robert E. Howard. He takes over, wakes up from the faint, gets an axe, and goes and kills the other centipedes and takes over as king of the world. So it was exactly those two authors' caricature.
I know, that's so on brand.
It's like so on right brand. On point, you know. They're all doing their thing.
Yeah.
Lovecraft's guy faints, Robert E. Howard conquers the world. That is
Yeah. So Lovecraft is going to have existential, horror, and then Robert E. Howard's just going to run with it in the most testosterone-soaked.
Yes.
Two-fisted battle axe
method. I'm going to have all the cute centipede girls, and I'm going to be on my big centipede throne. It was like, sure,
get my hot centipede chicks,
Janus 303 notices that I'm a fan of the Nightland, which I am. Actually, Robert E. Howard talked me into, not Robert E. Howard, Lovecraft talked me into reading William Hope Hodgson, and so I really like him. And if you haven't read much of his stuff, one thing that's worth looking up is his sea stories. He actually was on ships in like the 1890s, sailing ships. And so his sea stories are pretty solid, and he's interesting to read. He's like Lovecraft's favorite author that scary stuff. Very cosmic.
That's awesome.
Sadly, he died in World War I because England was stupid and sent 40 and 50-year-old men to the front line to die, or else they'd get a white feather, So I don't think the world was helped by him dying at all. I'm proud of G.K. Chesterton for not going. Of course, he weighed 300 pounds. But he would walk down the street and they would say, "Why aren't you saving civilization?" And he says, "I'm the civilization you're trying to save." It's like, because Chesterton, of course, is a hoot.
I've read a lot of Chesterton.
Like, that's the man who was Thursday. By the time I realized the prank he was playing on me in that, I was just dying. That was
some of the best biting commentary writer probably ever.
I know.
Yeah,
I always love his quote: "The purpose of a progressive is to make mistakes. The purpose of a conservative is to prevent old mistakes from being corrected."
Pretty good stuff. And I'm glad he didn't go to the war because 300-pound, 6-foot, whatever he was,
war,
guy
right?
in trench
40s,
warfare is not,
pounds. He couldn't even serve as a staff officer. It's ridiculous that England, remember, thought that they were going to save civilization with this ridiculous thing. When I go to my German friends, I talk about the fact that maybe the world would have been better off if Germany had won that war. They might have taken a little bit of France and some of Belgium, but we might not have had the communists. We wouldn't have had the Nazis. On the other hand, my grandfather was in World War I at the Somme, so he got shot and taken prisoner by the Germans.
Yeah, that's an interesting alternate history question, because the Germany of World War I was much different than the Germany of World War II.
I know. It was very different. Like I said, they saved my grandfather's life.
Yeah, the Kaiser was
laid in the mud puddle 3 days with machine gun bullets riddling him. And
the Kaiser did some bad stuff, but comparatively, he was a freaking teddy bear.
Okay, so John Petersen, my brother, wants me to balance the sound. Everyone says I'm quieter, and I don't know what to do, John. I click on the microphone symbol at the bottom of my thing, and it says microphone access on or off. Let apps access it. I don't see any knob to increase or decrease my sound. I don't know what to do. So
do you have a manual knob on the actual physical microphone itself?
Oh, I might, huh? Maybe it's not attached to the camera. I don't think I have a manual knob. I'm not even sure where the microphone is. If it's part of the camera.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think it's part of the camera because there's like dotted things.
Yeah, because I've got like a separate.
You're smart.
Microphone.
I have a cheap ass thing here.
No, I'm not smart. Just people tell me what to buy, and I do it.
Yeah, well, you'd think as a guy that had worked in computer games for 25 years, I'd know what to do. But
yeah, I thought you'd be an expert on this.
It's a Logitech thing. You're gonna see all my secrets as I move this around the room. I don't see anywhere on it that I can adjust the sound. But you can see my old Age of Empire stuff.
Very cool. Well, I can't because I'm on. Remember from our setup, I'm on the screen where I can't see anything. I'm talking to a green screen.
Oh, okay. Well, there's pictures of me Civil War enacting and stuff.
Oh, very cool.
I was louder. Maybe that's because I was closer. Is it louder now when I'm sitting here? Oh, there you go. If you turn your mic down, they can all turn their sound up and we'll be balanced. But I kind of like the effect of you shouting me down.
Oh, let me see if I can turn mine down. Hang on a second.
Don't turn it too far down.
How about now?
Okay, folks, what do you think?
Are we both
soft and hard to hear? And if so, okay, then you can turn us up and turn up the volume like the old song that no one remembers but me in this entire room.
Okay, should I turn it back to where it was before then?
I don't know. Windows sound settings. Okay, so there's sound. There's a sound setting thing, and it says volume. Is that? Am I louder now? Is that the speakers? Microphone. How about now? How's this? Is that louder?
That actually seems louder to me.
Yeah, it seems louder to me too. Okay, so tell about our impression of the RPG convention scene. Okay, so I started my first RPG convention was Gen Con when it was still in at the college in Lake Geneva, and we were in a giant convention hall, a non-air conditioned. There was some fans turning slowly in the middle of summer, trying to sell our games, and I was very happy later on when they moved to you taught the master. That means you are the super master, Whit. So yeah, I mean, that was how it was back in the day. We just like are a bunch of people. We actually, here's a fun fact you might know. the Gamma, the Game Manufacturers Organization, was specifically formed to keep this one specific guy out of the Origins game convention because he was crazy and he would carry his M16 into the convention hall and clean it there. And I know I'm big on the Second Amendment, but you don't need to push it in people's faces like that. And plus, he was a terrible person in other ways. So that's a fun fact. I've been going to conventions for a long time. I love conventions. The convention situation has changed a lot. There's a lot more little conventions around the world, and they are they're. I mean, do you go to game conventions, Larry?
I was the guest of honor at Origins and then got kicked out.
Oh, because you're a Nazi?
No, I'm an evil hate monger. So what happened was this was about 5 years ago. I'm trying to remember the exact year, but I think like 5-6 years ago, and I was announced as the guest of honor, and they put my thing out there, and the same day, super tolerant people showed up screaming about how evil and horrible and awful I was, and they didn't feel, people who weren't even going to it didn't feel safe by my presence. And so within an hour, the guy in charge booted me. And I didn't even find out, he didn't even have the balls to message me and tell me he was booting me. I found out from Facebook that I had been booted as the guest of honor.
Wow.
So that was classy. And they actually caused quite a bit of trouble because a lot of the vendors a lot of people who were going got really pissed off. The guy in charge got fired later. And this funny thing is my crime, so the lady that led the charge to get me kicked out of Origins, my crime was that I had been incredibly rude and racist to a marginalized person of color, her husband or her boyfriend. So we tried to.
Met him?
Well, we found out what the incident was, and so this guy, who I didn't even know what he was, I have no idea. He had written an article a couple years before about how Gen Con was racist, and I'd gone to Gen Con like 5 times before that, and I went through his article, and it was just total bullcrap. It was just made up angsty bullcrap, posturing nonsense, and I fisked it. I went through line by line and picked it apart and made fun of it, and that my response. So me defending just the average attendee at Gen Con was the incredibly rude and racist to a marginalized person of color. And the marginalized part came out really funny because it turns out the guy that wrote the article I responded to is the son of a billionaire.
Wow.
Like his dad's really a billionaire. Wonderful. Yeah. So I'm the son of a Portuguese dairy farmer. And so I come from a place of privilege, and he's the son of an Indian billionaire, and he comes from a place of marginalizedness because, I guess none of this stuff makes any sense. But yeah, it was very crazy there for a while. And so I do like gaming conventions.
Yeah.
But I prefer just to go.
Oh, they say you should turn your sound down a little bit, your mic down a little bit now.
A little bit more? Okay.
And then M. Hartman says it was the heckler's veto. About 5 people complained about you going, and 4 of them weren't going to be at the con. So,
they just threw a big temper tantrum.
It used to be you didn't have. There was. My argument was when I got banned, canceled at Twitter, and I got canceled at Board Game Geek. I always figured it was a small group of vocal guys, and it turns out it was. Now that we're looking at what's actually happening now, that right. But Whit Sullivan says they had to kick you out of TupeloCon because you were too racist. They want hard-nosed guys there.
I just, it's funny because like I am like actually the most egalitarian, individualistic person you'll ever meet. I'm Gen X, and I just don't give a crap about race at all. And I honestly, truthfully, I don't give a crap. I really don't.
But asks, yes, they are canceling people from the Lovecraft stuff, and you know why? Because Lovecraft was racist.
I know. Actually, I had a lot of people get mad at me for that. I was like, by the standards of the 1930s, he was just kind of normal for a New Englander. He was a little
racist even for then, but so what? It's like.
Yeah, because New Englanders were profoundly freaking racist.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about Lovecraft's racism. Okay, in the first place, I regard racism as a failure of education, not a crime or a sin, right? You haven't learned why it's bad, right? And of course, you're not going to learn by someone hectoring you, but there's ways probably to educate you. And so Lovecraft is right. And second, Lovecraft got less racist over time as he wrote, which most people, right? So maybe he would never have gone to the enlightened level that I am now, but he was moving the way direction I want racists to go. You know, he said that his star-headed crinoid old ones were manly men because and courageous. He praised them. So, you know.
You know what's funny is one of the only races he specifically singled out to make fun of, or not make fun of, but he called the Portuguese
swarthy, evil Portuguese. Yeah, but that's
swarthy and degenerate.
Yeah, that's deserved though. You have to admit.
Which is funny, and I read that as a Portuguese kid, and I was like, huh, whatever. That's funny. Well, I didn't give a crap.
Did you read the Black Volmea stories by Robert E. Howard? Whenever there's a Portuguese pirate, those guys are always dirtbags. You know.
I know, right? And so it's like, if anybody should be offended, it should be me. But I don't give a crap. It was, and Robert E. Howard was actually I hate to use this word as a positive, but he was a shockingly progressive man for his era and place that he came from. Yeah, he came from the Confederacy. It wasn't the Confederacy then, but he grew up. The guys around him, the old guys, were Confederate veterans. That's the era he grew up in.
Yeah.
You know?
To be fair, the Confederates from Texas mostly didn't own or know much about black slaves. It was very rare there. But I'm sure they were still, they're still as racist as they could be, right?
Yeah.
If you get a Mississippi veteran, those guys are going to be a little more hard-nosed, maybe.
Yeah, and so the thing is, I've written books set in this, but the whole modern hyper-offended sensibility, looking for perpetual offense to like basically just be bullies, is what it is. I remember I wrote Hard Magic, so I wrote the series set in the 1930s, and the bad guys were Imperial Japan, right? And I got called racist for having Imperial Japan be villains.
I know.
That was racist.
Well, I posted a thing a while ago. I said, you know what? People, whenever I post something about Imperial Japan, then someone says, well, they had all this racist stuff against Japan the other day. I say, you know what? I'm kind of okay with being a little racist against Imperial Japan, who is literally trying to destroy the United States and is one of the most racist, horrible things there ever were. Whatever crimes we did by having Bugs Bunny make fun of them is nothing compared to what those guys were doing.
That was like my crime is I portrayed Japan of 1932 as being villainous. It's like, have you ever read a history book, sir? Have you opened a history book?
Yeah.
They did bad things.
They did. They were bad people. My aunt Lillian, who was full-blood Japanese, was in Japan during the war. She was a teenager, and they moved her out to the countryside so that she wouldn't be bombed. And the plan was that when the Americans landed to invade Japan, they would give her a bamboo spear and send her out to be machine gunned, I guess. So I'm really glad we didn't ever invade, because my Aunt Lillian, I love my Aunt Lillian. My Uncle Mike, who she married when she came to America, his actual name was Mitsuru Takeda. He was in America during the war, so of course he's in one of the camps in California. And I never heard him complain about it or say a thing. He just like, oh yeah, I did that. And then, now I'm happy and I'm married to Aunt Lillian. And I was so naive. I thought Uncle Mike and Aunt Lillian were blood relatives of mine until I was like 14. They're like total Japanese. Oh, Rizamar points out that I made Doom a game about demons because I am promoting Satanism. Yes, this is true. And in fact, some LDS guys. So here I am. I'm in my home, and we just did Doom, right? And we're having the missionaries, the LDS missionaries, over for dinner. And one of them starts talking about, they heard I was in video games. Have heard about this evil satanic video game promoting demonic, right? And I'm like, I got red, and my wife is egging them on. Really? Tell us more about it. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then finally it came out that I was one of the designers. And of course the missionaries were embarrassed, and I felt bad for them, but
it's like, how is Doom promoting evil? You're chainsawing evil. You're shooting evil in the face with a shotgun.
This is my logic. If you have a game in which what you're trying to do constantly is kill demons, how are you demonic? But
yeah, it's like this should be very pro. It's like very anti-demon.
Well,
it's very biased against them.
Through a Doom level, it looks creepy because it's like hell's interior decorator, right? But but man, it was just crazy. It's obviously they are not playing it. Well, here's another example. so you know that people held up my game Doom in Congress denouncing it, right? And these were not Republicans. This is like Joe Lieberman and Tipper Gore. It was, in fact, them specifically. So one of them said, "Well, Doom you've played Doom."
Oh yeah.
Okay. So it says Doom teaches you how to be a school shooter. I'm like, what? And he says, because in Doom it teaches you that you take a shot and keep going and shoot next, and you don't. And I said, that's not what Doom teaches you. Doom teaches you to hose down the guy till he falls down into a puddle. It's the complete opposite of what the guy said Doom teaches. You don't just shoot and keep going because they will kill you.
Oh my gosh!
He never played Doom.
I discovered Doom. The first time I played Doom was in college, and I was in a college computer class. And so we're in the computer labs at Utah State University, and there's 100 computers in one room. And I'm bored out of my mind listening to the lecture. And we're supposed to be doing whatever is up on the board, And I'm closing through, and somebody put Doom on the computer in the computer lab, and I was like, "Let's try this out. What is this?" And next thing I know, I'm in this class, and I'm blowing stuff away. And during a college computer class, I don't even remember what we were supposed to be learning, but I wound up staying way after class and just played for hours.
I hope you didn't flunk because of it, because I've heard that sometimes.
No, I didn't. I squeaked through college with a solid B.
There you go. So all of Tom's Hall. Jane has asked about Tom's Hall levels. All of Tom's Hall levels in the game are levels that I had to go into and fix. It wasn't Tom Hall's fault. It's because he left before we had all the textures, all the triggers, all the monsters. So I had to add all that stuff. So I did all the. By the way, Map 16 in Doom 2, one of the buildings there is my house that I was building at the time. Because I had the map for it. So I'll put my house in the game. And so, in fact, you can even open the garage door and imps come in. They're stand-ins for my dogs. There's a video of it somewhere. Doom was, the best thing about Doom for me was that just before it came out, I got to go back to my former job at Microprose Software and show the people there that I had done what I was working on. Look, I'm doing this game, and they're like blown away. You're shooting demons. You're running around. You have machine guns. You have rocket launchers. I can kill my product manager. How cool is that? And so they really, really liked it. And I've heard afterwards that it delayed M1 Tank Platoon by 6 months because they had to check out Doom for 6 months before they went back to it.
Oh yeah, they had to study it for the competition. I remember when I learned you worked on I think the game Stealth Fighter. Is that right?
I did a little tiny bit on it, not much. And it was so
I
old.
Played that game so much.
That was a very intellectual fighter playing game because you had to plan your route. You had to it depends if it's Doppler or pulse radar. You had to plan your routes and think about it. You couldn't just go do things,
Yep. You just couldn't go out there, fly and fight. It was like a thinking man's
It was a
game.
That was Sid Meier 99.9% and 0.1% probably Bruce Shelley, not me. But I did get to interfere a little bit. I was there when we found out that there was an actual F-19, but it was the F-117. And so we changed the model for the airplane, but kept it exactly the same. So it's a lot better. It's a lot better air-to-air combat than in the real one. But
I played the crap out of that game. I played that game so much. Well, and then obviously Age of Empires. We all played Age of Empires.
Well, I was in that solidly all through it. Every bug.
And I know you were. I was reading your thing the other day about like the stuff that the units. Like the logic and the units you added to the game and the expansion and I was like, no, I remember all those, man. I played the heck out of that game.
I had to, at least that game never got accused of being satanic, And the other thing, of course, Doom is accused of being violent, right? Because you're shooting people. So obvious is violent, unlike every other, right? So, but then if you play Age of Empires, you are killing people by the thousands. You're sending hussars into towns and murdering villagers, but no one thinks it's violent.
Yeah, I'm burning villages. I'm overthrowing civilizations, and that's perfectly okay. But if I chainsaw an imp, that's bad.
That's bad, yeah. So you're a Company of Heroes and Dawn of War guy? Hey, Croak, how you doing? Thank you. I'm happy you like my stuff. Age of Empires was really fun. Our big idea was to do a RTS game based historically. People hadn't done that. We thought that would be a draw. You know, we didn't care if it was educational. Although I did hear one guy said I got a good score on my test because I knew about the Hittites from Age of Empires. But,
I remember many years ago, there was like this big controversy because Gary Johnson was running for president, and somebody asked him a question about Aleppo, Syria, and he blanked out and he didn't know where Aleppo was, and everybody was acting like, oh, how can you not know? And I'm like, you guys, I'm like, you guys are full of crap. You didn't know either. Because here's the thing, I knew what it was, but the reason I knew what it was because it's one of the provinces in the game Medieval Total War.
Okay, I knew about it from the Bible, but yeah, it's also in Total War.
I mean, it's in the Bible, but I wouldn't remember because there's a lot of places in the Bible.
Yeah.
But it was one of the provinces I had to fight over in Medieval Total War, and I was like, so I knew exactly where it was on my geography.
Oh, cool. So I get this guy praising Hyperspace, and where's my copy?
Oh, the game Hyperspace?
It's out. You can buy it. My board game Hyperspace. It's a space game. It's my new science fiction game. It has bizarro world aliens. None of them are humanoid. They're all super weird. Because I kind of agree with Lovecraft that humanoids would be vanishingly rare out there. My logic being that there's one humanoid species on Earth. I mean, I don't really count great apes as being humanoid. They walk on all fours. They have other issues. But so I think Lovecraft's crinoids and blob monsters are more likely. And I do have Lovecraft stuff. What?
Was Hyperspace the one where you have your ship and you have your systems on your ship and you had to manage the systems on your ship and purchase stuff?
That was Hyperspeed.
Hyperspeed.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's this. I borrow from that universe for the game Hyperspace, which is more strategic level. But yeah, Hyperspeed. Basically, it was like you had a little busy board, like for a toddler. When you go to your engine room, you played that thing?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, you're one of the 40,000 or something that found it, but I was very proud of that. You know who else liked it? Orson Scott Card praised it. I was so happy.
It was fun.
It must appeal to authors.
Yeah. I remember that. That wasn't that long ago either, was it? That was that wasn't that long ago. That was within like the last 10 years, right? Or am I getting really old?
Hyperspace came out in Hyperspeed, the video game came out in 1991.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, you're old, dude. That's 35 years ago.
Okay, well I played it more recently than that.
Oh, well, it's on Steam. It is on Steam.
Okay, yeah. So 1991, I was in high school. So no, it was after that. Wow.
Okay. It is on Steam. But now I have a board game, Hyperspace. Hyperspeed is the video game. Hyperspace is the board game.
Okay,
and it's
cool.
the empires fighting. But I do have a board game also of the ships fighting one-on-one. And it's not published yet, but it's ready to go. And then I'm also working on a role-playing game of Hyperspace, in which you are humans in the future. And of course, the backstory for it is that Cthulhu has taken over the Earth. And because remember, Lovecraft's monsters are actually aliens, so they're in space. Now, not all the monsters are Lovecraft monsters. There's other aliens, but they're there too. And so humanity had to leave Earth in big generation ships and were looking for a new home. And so, that's the story. You're humanity. You're looking for a new home. You got your own little spaceship. You're trying to work things out and deal with aliens. And it's vaguely based on Call of Cthulhu, but it's in space and you have blasters and things. I had to solve all kinds of problems, like in a space game. As you know, the issue is that, like, if a gun right now will kill you in a single shot, then how the heck can I have characters survive in space with blaster rifles, right? So I figured out a way, but it was, it's a challenge.
I'm a sucker for sci-fi games. I write mostly fantasy, but I love sci-fi.
Well, I may have to figure out some way that we can get you into a regular game of Hyperspace
I'll play with you. Yeah, I mean, because last time we played, I had a hoot. It was us, and it was the Arkham.
The Arkham Files guys. Yeah, those guys are
the
hilarious.
Arkham Files guys.
And it was playing with a bunch of bitter, angsty guys in their 40s and 50s is pretty great because no one cares if they get killed.
Oh man, we were all committed to the bit, and our characters were trying to survive.
Oh, I know. Of course you were. That's the fun. You have to try to survive.
Yeah, but we were committed to the bit, man. We were like all in, and that was a fun group. That was a good crew, and we played. It was a pretty long session, and I was just such a dirtbag. Like I was given a dirtbag character, and I was like, I'm embracing this. I was such a piece of crap. I was like, this action will, and I was straight up killing other PCs too. It's like, oh no, PCs. I have to seal this guy in there.
Actually, you were too gutless to do it yourself. You sent in like your thug to do it, right?
Oh yeah, no.
Or you turned off the oxygen in the room.
I covered my butt, man. Like I was a bureaucrat, and I played like a bureaucrat. So I'm not the one taking the heat.
Okay, so I got two questions here. One, the Crawling Chaos says, "Thanks for Call of Cthulhu." Thank you, Crawling Chaos. I appreciate anyone that plays Call of Cthulhu is my brother, as far as, or I guess my sister, depending on who they are. Like most of them are sisters, because there's more copies of Call of Cthulhu sold in Japan than the rest of the world put together. It's way bigger than D&D over there, right? I guess Knights in Armor don't appeal as much as tentacle monsters, and 70% of the players in Japan are women. So the average player of Call of Cthulhu is an 18 to 35-year-old Japanese gal. And then here's a question for you. Rizamar says, what makes a good fantasy novel?
I would say just entertainment value. I mean, if you enjoy it, I think I'm a fantasy fan going way back, but my main thing that what I remember is the ones I had the most fun reading. So I don't think there's any like specific ingredients that makes a book good or bad. It's just how much you get out of it and how much you enjoy it. I mean, I could cop out and say, well, it has to have, X, No, I don't think so. I think you could do all sorts of different stuff and make it fun, make it cool. I'm a mold genre kind of guy. I don't know. I think you can make anything work as long as you do it well.
So here's my question for you. So you got your Book of the Black Sword, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the characters, it's pretty dark, and a lot of the characters are colossal assholes. Okay.
Oh yeah.
How did you manage? And some of the heroes have tendencies or traits that should logically make them colossal assholes, but somehow you made me like them. What were your tricks that you did to do that?
The main thing is you got to remember in a fantasy world, the characters are a product of their universe. Yeah. And if you're like people who get hung up on like, they try to like stick our morality, our modern, 2025 American morality onto fantasy worlds. And that usually falls apart, and so the world inside of the Black Sword is much darker, grim,
it's a terrible
rough
place.
Oh yeah. Brutal caste systems.
You have a non-religious caste system. It's like worst possible setup for a society.
Yeah, so I have caste systems, but religion is illegal. And so it was...
I mean, a caste system you could kind of defend if you thought, well, I'll rise up to the ranks when I reincarnate or whatever. But having a caste system and be an atheist, that's bad. Well, here's the thing, though. You have characters in it that are also in that system that I do hate and glory in their death. So how do you... So, like... so you were able to do it.
The key is... So I had people from every cast and every station, and every group. Some were good, some were bad. Ultimately, there still is a good versus evil morality to it.
Yeah.
But you just got to keep in mind, and it's not even really keep in mind. It's just if I do my job as a writer, it's all organic, where the people are a product of their world. So I mean, it opens up the hero in the second chapter. The hero is kicking a slave because the slave didn't get him food fast enough. You know. And that's the hero of the story.
Well, I have a question for you. Were you, and I'm sure you get the kind of thing all the time, were you particularly influenced by Gene Wolfe's Shadow of the Torturer more than some other fantasy books when you wrote it? Because that has kind of a similar arc for the hero.
Actually, no, I haven't read Shadow of the Torturer.
Oh, okay. Well, you probably like it.
So I'm in the clear there. I can say honestly that one didn't influence me.
People ask me, how come Call of Cthulhu has things you've stolen from these other games? Well, because you can't ever get better if you don't read and play other games and read other books, right?
Yeah.
No, if everyone had to start from new with no knowledge of any other games or books, then
and we're all and I run into this all the time because I teach creative writing stuff, and I hear from people all the time where they'll be like, "Well, I want to write this, but I can't because it's been done before." Dude, everything's been done.
Yeah, what is
literally everything.
Plots, you know,
we have millions of creative people telling stories for thousands of years. If you have an idea that you think is unique, odds are it's not. You just haven't found the book that it's in.
This is
it's all been done. So the more important thing is just have your unique spin on it.
Yeah. It's why as game companies we have to tell people not to send us unsolicited stuff, or we can't look at them, because we say, here's the thing, you're building something that's going to fit inside our game universe, which means it's pretty likely we've already thought of something like it, and so now if we go and do that thing, you're going to say we copied what you did, and it's not necessarily true. So
yep.
Please don't send
Same thing for me. People send me I know there's tons of fan fiction for my stuff out there on the internet. I can't read any of it. I'll never admit to reading any of it. And people send me ideas all the time, and I just don't even respond. I was like, I don't open those. I just tell people I've thrown it out there over and over, like fan pages and stuff. I was like, guys, I can't. Don't send me ideas. If you send me ideas, I'm not going to read them.
Okay,
because
but here's the thing.
Someday
you're going to write that book with zombies in outer space, and then I'm going to sue you for $1 billion because of that Call of Cthulhu game we played. Whether we're zombies in outer space. Okay, I won't really, because I'm not a suing guy, but it's like, that's how dumb it is, right?
Yep. It is. It's just, it can't, as a creator, you can't be worried about that. You know, you gotta plow on and do what you want to do. And we're all inspired by everything we've ever read. We've read, us creative types are usually really well read.
Well, and our fans, let's be frank, they're mostly pretty creative. I view them as more peers than fans. And so they have the same universe of stuff to draw from. So of course they're going to come up with the same idea as we do. I mean, here's the way I look at it is this way. I like games, I like horror, and I'm lucky enough to have a job where I get to make games. Whereas the people that play my games don't have that job, but it doesn't make them. I mean, they're still peers of mine that I respect.
Oh man, I have so many readers that are smarter than I am.
Yeah, exactly. I have met designers that like put themselves on a pedestal, but I have not felt that from you, it's just like, everyone has to have a job. This is my job. I didn't plan on this job. I backed into it by accident. Now I'm 70. I'm too old to switch and be a plumber. So I'm stuck with this.
Hey man, I was a dairy farmer and then I was an accountant. So now I'm a writer. I don't want to go back to dairy farming or accounting.
Well, I mean, I had jobs in high school where I worked for a pet store, and I worked for a paleontologist. I had to
that's
boil.
Cool.
Here's the funnest thing I did then. We had an 18-month-old dead elk, all mummified, and I got to boil it in half of a metal barrel to get all the flesh off it, so that we could use the bones. And you can imagine what that smelled like.
Fun.
And everyone else left the building. It was just me.
Oh, geez. Oh, my 13-year-old will think paleontology is super cool. He's very much.
Paleontology is super cool. Just boiling the meat off an 18-month-old elk was not cool.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, he's at that age where we were at a concert a little while ago, and there was a girl sitting in front of us who was about his age, a cute girl, and she was dancing, and a couple times they had made eye contact, and my son was like, I'm there with my son and his older sister, my daughter, and my son's like, oh man, Dad, I kind of want to talk to that girl, but I don't really know what to say. And my daughter leans in and she goes, ask her what her favorite dinosaur is.
Oh, I can't decide if that's a good advice or a put down, It's maybe a little of both.
That would have been so perfect. But he chickened out. He didn't talk to her. But it was just kind of funny because that was the big sister's advice, because he's such a dinosaur nerd. Yeah.
So Matthew Bowman says G.K. Chesterton said originality is a return to an origin. That's an interesting way of putting it. Not creating something new. He says this is why poetry about love and sunrises is still good, and urban angst isn't.
Chesterton was a wise man.
Yeah, that stuff gets dated like 2 seconds after it's written, but yeah.
I mean, you could write stuff that's chained to a particular period.
Sure.
Like when I'm writing fiction, I either have my fiction like kind of like free floating, so you don't know exactly when it is, or I will nail it down to a date. The biggest mistake I ever made in my career was I set a date in Monster Hunter that series wound up being going on for the last 20 years. And so I regret having that date in that first book that could be pinned down. But like the American Paladin, the one I'm doing right now, it straight up takes place. I say exactly when it takes place. And so it's talking about current events that are current events of that, it was winter of 2022. So you could do it either way.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, one of my favorite movie genres is a movie made in the past that's set in their future that we've already gone past.
Oh, yeah. That's always fun. Because right now we're passing Blade Runner.
Yeah, we passed Blade. We're at 10 years past Blade Runner.
Oh, yeah.
We're just getting to Blade Runner. We're 10 years past Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah. We're coming up on Aliens.
We are coming up on Alien. We've also long since passed Escape from New York. Remember when New York was locked up and all the criminals had to stay there? I mean, that's happened.
Yeah, right? But that one's still pretty close.
Oh, I'm not arguing, right? I'm just saying I love those movies that set in the unthinkably far future.
I was going to say that one's actually not too far off.
Everyone sees that and says, "Yeah, it's New York,"
Yeah, that's about right. I'll see Kurt Russell run by here in an eye patch here in a minute.
Kurt Russell can do anything. He is my favorite actor.
Dude, I love Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's one of my favorite actors of all time. Good. I mean, I love so many of his movies. My kids haven't seen Tombstone. I found out the other day my children haven't watched Tombstone. I failed as a father.
That is Val Kilmer's monument forever. He ruled that film.
It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Every part of that movie is. I saw somebody say a thing about Tombstone is imagine they made a movie that was only the good parts.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. Well, really, that's the same thing that happened with Indiana Jones. When Indiana Jones came out back when I was in my 20s, I went to see it, and it's like, it only has the exciting action parts. This is great. And I said they should do more movies like this. But when they try to do it now, it's like sound and fury signifying nothing quite usually.
Yeah, forgettable stuff. A lot of explosions.
Got close.
Oh, the Fury Road one, the new one?
Both of them. Both the original and the Fury. I like Fury Road.
I like Fury Road. I felt it was like an hour and a half long car chase.
I went into it expecting not to like it.
Yeah, me too. Because I like the first one. I like the originals, the Mel Gibson ones. But I gave it a chance, and I actually like Fury Road. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
If you think of it as a fantasy movie and the magic system is car.
Yeah.
It makes even more sense. Just like John Wick. I love John Wick. A lot of people say John Wick's not realistic, but if you think of John Wick as a fantasy movie and the magic system is
it's
gun.
In Fairyland. They have those special coins they use to buy everything. And it's in Fairyland. Although, you've seen the stuff about Keanu Reeves doing the actual gun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen
I'm a shooter. Yeah, I'm like a competitive shooter, and I've done that kind of stuff. And so I watched a train. Like, he's legit. He's learned to shoot pretty good.
Yeah.
They've got some weird affectations for the movies that are kind of, for us gun guys, are kind of stupid. But we all love those movies. Yeah. Like, we all love those movies. I can't because we're live streaming this on YouTube. I can't show you. I actually have the John Wick 4 shotgun right behind me.
Wow.
I do. But I can't grab it and handle it on YouTube. That would get us in trouble.
That would get us defunded. I don't know if we're funded anyway. Well, that can't be true because Gun Jesus shows guns all the time.
I don't know what the rules are.
Weapons?
I've just had people get in trouble for handling firearms. I don't know, but Ian, there's a whole gun tube, but I'm not sure what their malicious rules are on handling stuff because YouTube makes crap.
I don't get a pass because I'm not a real gun guy. I'm just this crazy.
just for, well, I was going to say, proof I'm not lying. So yeah, there's a Gen 12.
Holy shit. Is that the gun that the bad guy is using at the end of Punisher to shoot Frank Bernthal? He has a shotgun with a big banana clip he's firing away.
Maybe I'd have to see that. I'm not sure on that. I can't remember that one. This was the one from the scene in number 4 where they have the top down like it's a video game.
Streams. You just banned us.
And when he's doing the fire shotgun, you know, it's like doing the big fireballs. That's the one.
Okay. Well,
so that was the fireball scene.
Well, I mean, my favorite shotgun, I guess, in movies still got to be the one in No Country for Old Men with the one with the
where Anton's chasing him around with that. Oh yeah, the 1187 with a great big suppressor on it.
Yeah, I tried to get more accurate guns in Call of Cthulhu periodically, but it never really caught on because like you don't need more accurate guns in Call of Cthulhu, right? It's like if you're watching a 1940s Warner Brothers suspense movie, it doesn't matter what the gun is. Any gun you can use to hold on a guy and they have to do what you say. There's no
we say that, but I've one time because I do a lot of firearms training, right? And yeah, you'd be surprised the Venn diagram of gun gamer and gamer actually overlaps quite a bit. And so I'm notorious for running role-playing games after firearms training classes. Oh. And so I've done Call of Cthulhu, and it's funny because I just gave people, I was like, just keep in mind, this is a room full of gun nuts, like hardcore high-end gun nuts. Mm-hmm. And I go, okay, so the year is 1932 or 1935 or whatever. And your character can have whatever you want. Just go ahead and add, you know, for whatever your adventurer or your investigator may have, go ahead and write it on your sheet. And when I say it to that room, it's like, oh, well then. And then it's like this equipment lists of super nerdy.
Yeah, but then I'm playing Call of Cthulhu, I'll say, hey, you know what? It's all going to do 1d10 damage. Shoot twice.
And they're all going to get, and then most of them are going to die before they ever get a shot off anyway.
Half the monsters like it when you shoot them, you know. So
or just, it doesn't matter. You're just saving the last bullet for yourself.
Got to save the last bullet for yourself. That's something you learn in Call of Cthulhu.
But I've actually done this. I'll talk about Ian on Forgotten Realms. So I played a game one time with Matt Hott, who's one of the regulars on the extras on that show because he's like one of the biggest shotgun experts in the world. And we're playing, and it was like set in 1932, and Matt Hott's got like this super crazy list of equipment. It's very specific, weird calibers, you know, and all this stuff he's got on there. And I was like, dude, you're a regular guest on Forgotten Weapons. You can have whatever period correct nerd stuff you want, man.
Hey Arthur, if you're listening, can you answer Evil Lawn about the Cthulhu Wars for Canada? I know we have an answer to him, but anyway, sorry, someone was asking about when we're going to deliver Cthulhu Wars to Canada. You can buy it there now, but the Kickstarter guys haven't got their share yet for reasons that are not lost. We have them anyway. I'll let Arthur worry about it. I have other things to talk about with you, like how guns can't kill Cthulhu. Although, now I'm trying to think of how you killed the Great Old One in Monster Hunter.
Okay,
Use the nuke.
So right? First off, we annoyed one with a nuclear weapon.
Right.
And then later on, it was actually it was a device developed by Sir Isaac Newton, called a Ward Stone, which is basically my
I read this 9 months ago, so that's why I don't remember.
Yeah, it's my MacGuffin of ultimate destruction for otherworldly creatures.
Okay.
It's like mankind's doomsday device for blowing up really bad evil things.
So did it destroy the entire pocket universe he was in, or just him?
Not specified.
Okay.
It just they set it off and got the hell out of it.
I was going into that story thinking, no way can they kill a Great Old One, and then you kind of convinced me this would work. So I always
Monster Hunter is very much so. I draw upon Lovecraftian stuff.
Oh, I noticed that.
That was tackled in a very different philosophy. You know.
Yeah.
It's hey, we're Americans. We can kill anything if we put our mind to it.
Yes. It's a The easiest way to get the Petersen Games newsletter, everyone, is to go to petersengames.com, and if you're not on the newsletter, a pop-up comes and says, "Hey, join our newsletter for 20% off your next buy." I read a couple copies of Heavy Metal magazine, and I saw the movie. That's about the main thing I got from Heavy Metal. I have read a lot of Judge Dredd, though.
Oh, I love Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd is...
Well, I didn't really read much of it, but I really actually love the Carl Urban movie. I really like the Carl Urban movie.
See, I have a fight going on with my son over that because he loves Judge Dredd, the movie, and I liked it too. But my feeling is that The Raid, by Indonesian movie with a Scottish director, I thought it...
Oh, The Raid, so good.
Yeah, I thought it was better than Dredd. And he does...
Yeah. The Raid's incredible. The Raid and The Raid 2 are both excellent.
They're both amazing action movies. So good.
That director just did another movie on Netflix called Havoc with Tom Hardy, and it was okay, but it wasn't nearly The Raid.
They got to get that little weaselly Indonesian guy with the scraggly beard. He's what they need. That guy is the
Mad Dog.
Yeah.
Mad Dog. And then he was in John Wick 3. So the two guys from The Raid fight Keanu Reeves, which is funny because Keanu Reeves is like a normal size American dude, and you see how tiny these two Indonesian guys are when they're fighting him.
Yeah, but if you know who he is, you know.
Yeah. But they're all like, "Oh, it's John Wick." They're like his biggest fans, you know.
So I gotta say that I thought by John Wick 3 they had kind of jumped the shark, but I still liked seeing that Indonesian guy get his money because he was cool.
Oh, it was so cool. That was great, man. That was a great scene. I love that. I'm an action movie nerd. I love action flicks. That probably comes through in my writing.
Yeah, it does. Well, here's an action. I'm gonna try and think of an action movie that I really love that you might not have seen. Have you seen The Naked Prey?
No.
1967. Okay, it's set in like 1870s Africa. Great white hunters go to Africa, and they're going into the deep interior, and one of the guys keeps saying, "Look, down in the interior, the black tribes aren't all beat down by the white man. These guys are dangerous, but they treat them like dirt, and so the blacks come and take them, and they torture them all to death except for the one guy. And then they say, okay, you get a head start, then we're going to kill you." So he starts running, and they chase him, and one of them catches him. He kills the guy, takes his spear, and he's going, and they're chasing him all across Africa. This naked guy with his prey. So it's kind of like Apocalypto. I think Apocalypto was based on it. But the Naked Prey, I think you will really like The Naked Prey.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I have seen Apocalypto.
Well, if you liked Apocalypto, I think you'd like this one too. You know?
Yeah, I actually really I thought
Cornell Wilde. Cornell Wilde is the director and hero. And
okay,
he's really good. So
yeah, no, I haven't seen that one. No, I'm a connoisseur of pretty much anything violent and entertaining. I just kind of enjoy this.
Well, as a kid growing up, so when I was just a tad, my favorite two TV shows were The Untouchables and Combat. And if you've ever seen those, the original Untouchables, man, they're violent. Guys get plastic paper bags put on their heads and guns shot into them, and they fall down stairwells. And of course, Combat with Vic Morrow is amazing. Check them out. They're all the whole things are available in DVD, so you don't get it stolen from you by Amazon. You got to. There's a question here a guy has for you and says, where was it? I guess I scrolled too far past it to find it. Oh well.
You scrolled. You dug too deep.
I dug too deep. Oh, here it is. Do you think you'll ever add the realities of BJJ training to a novel?
Yes. Yeah. So for those that don't know, I like jujitsu. I do jujitsu. I'm not good at it. I'm terrible at it, but I enjoy it a lot. I like to fight, and yes, I will be adding BJJ bits to books. I kind of have to now. In fact, American Paladin, he knows jujitsu. So there are a couple scenes for. Say what?
He says he loves Red Belt because in that movie the hero gets tired, and of course in most movies they never get tired.
No. Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. So when we're writing these action sequences, we got to kind of go beyond what's like regular human ability. Otherwise, really after the first fight scene, the main character will be recuperating for a week or in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
And so we got to kind of bend reality a little bit. But no, I do an American Paladin. I actually do use some jiu-jitsu. So the main character is he was a high school wrestler, and then he does jiu-jitsu, MMA, and that kind of thing, and like very hands-on guy, light heavyweight. But I do have pretty early on, he just breaks the crap out of a guy's arm and his shoulder.
Well, you avoid it in Black Sword by having the hero have magical I don't get tired stuff. But
so Ashok legit could go through, like, he could fight 200 guys and be fine. Yeah. Because he's not entirely human anymore. Right. He's functioning on a different level.
Bernthal, and like, I think he'd be a little tougher for him, but that's okay because it's comic book stuff.
Yeah, so a character like Ashok, the rules are different. Yes. He's not got the same physical limitations as a regular human being. So like the one I'm writing right now, the American Paladin one, the Kickstarter one, he's human. He's just a dude, no magic power. So this guy gets his ass kicked. Monster Hunter is kind of in between.
Well, I mean, the werewolves get a pass because they're werewolves.
Yep, werewolves get a pass. Some people happen to be like, the chosen ones that get some extra bonuses there.
Yeah. They got plot armor.
Yeah, they get some plot armor. So it just kind of depends on what I'm writing, And so it just kind of depends. Some people get their asses kicked more than others. I got a book coming out next week. It's called Academy of Outcasts. Main character on that's he's just a kid. He's like an 18-year-old guy, but he's got some magical powers, but nothing that's physical. The one thing he's got going for him is he grew up as a miner. I can't explain too much, but he comes from a mining background, right? And so this guy spent his whole life
got to be pretty buff as far as not strong. Well, they're strong too. I have minor ancestors, but endurance. You got to have that if you're going to work in a mine. You're pushing those carts and.
Yeah, so I got a guy, and so he doesn't have any sort of special skills, except his people's hobby is brawling, and. So I have fight scenes in this, and this guy gets his ass kicked, but his power basically is just getting punched a lot and not giving up. And they do have some grappling in that, but nothing unless there's no like organized grappling. It's more just a bunch of roughnecks choking the crap out of each other. Is his fighting background? But no, so like American Paladin, I do go full jiu-jitsu moves because. I've been enjoying it. I'm terrible at it, but it is actually educational for being able to write better fight scenes.
Well, sure. If he doesn't even know about it, well, see, I did karate back in the day, believe it or not, and I did fencing in college, and things like that. And so, of course, I'm 70 years old, and anyone can beat me up now, which is why I carry. But I know that I can't fight for an hour straight. Even back on my best day.
5-minute round, and I've turned to Jello and need a break, and then I can do maybe another 5-minute round, and then I'm done. I can
go to the gym and work there for 45 minutes, but I fighting constantly for 5 minutes, that'd take me down.
Well, a lot of jiu-jitsu is catching your breath while wrestling. It's like, I'm in a good position. I'm going to stay here for a minute, squishing this other guy while I breathe.
Yes, that makes sense. So the odd side of things asks, would you be open to doing a collaboration with heavy metal? I don't know if you're talking to Larry or me, but if you're talking to me, I am 100% okay with doing a collaboration with heavy metal. Have them, or you, if you're them, contact me. I'm very excited to work with heavy metal.
And I have no knowledge of them other than watching the movie. I mean, from the olden days, I have, but as far as like where they're at today, I have no idea.
It was a comic magazine.
Yeah. I remember it, and I remember the comic magazine, and I don't know what they are now, so I have no idea.
Okay, Kenpo karate is what they called it.
Oh yeah, way of the fist.
Is that what it means?
Yeah, Kenpo is like fist way.
I got my son to take karate because I thought when he was a little kid, right? Arthur, you've met him. And so he's like 6 years old taking karate lessons. And then they taught him all these things. So he came back and he said, I've got my new style. And it's thundering bricks. And he'd roll forward and kick the wall. That was his thundering. So from then on, whenever I have characters doing karate, like in my games, I have them have the thundering bricks move.
Nice. Very nice. I've actually stolen from my youngest has given me several things from his D&D games that I've stuck into Academy of Outcasts, the one I got next week. So like the main bad guy in the series is named after so the bad guy in the second one and the main bad guy in the series were both named by my son. So that's kind of fun.
I've been loving wuxia movies from Hong Kong for a long time, but in my opinion, the greatest kung fu movie or kung fu movie of all time is Kung Fu Hustle.
Oh, that's a classic.
And after I saw Shaolin Soccer, I thought he could never surpass this. This is the greatest movie of all time. And then Kung Fu Hustle, and it's even better. It's like
back when I was a kid, we had back when we had 3 stations. There was the Saturday afternoon like kung fu movie extravaganza. And I remember sitting there, and it would be like a double feature. It would be like two back-to-back kung fu movies.
Wow.
And so I remember watching those as a kid. There were so many bad ones and so many good ones.
Bad ones, but even the bad ones I loved.
Even the bad ones were awesome.
So here's one for all you guys to look at if you look for a great kung fu movie that you may not have heard of. It's called 17 Legendary Weapons of Kung Fu. So right there, from that title, you know it's going to be good. It has a whole fight sequence in the middle of it with a guy that's faking all his kung fu. Okay? And here's a scene. So there's an evil sorcerer, okay? And you can steal this for your book because, all art is derivative, okay? So the evil sorcerer, so this kid comes to confront the hero with kung fu. And the evil sorcerer guy has a voodoo doll, and he takes over the kid. And so as he moves he's sitting in like an outhouse, and as he moves the voodoo doll around, the kid moves, and he's controlling him to fight the hero. But he doesn't respond to wounds or anything, and he fights kind of clumsy because he's moving the kid to fight him. And the kid's friends spot the guy controlling the voodoo doll and jump him, and so he's trying to get away from them. And so the kid's flipping around the place everywhere, and it's just hysterical. And they do pull out all 17 weapons.
Oh, that's awesome. So not kung fu because it's South Korean, but there's a movie called Man from Nowhere.
Whoa. Okay.
Have you seen? Okay, it's so good. Such a good movie.
I see a lot of Korean movies. I don't remember that title.
This one's amazing. And so there's that big knife fight scene at a dinner party in Son of the Black Sword. And you talk about taking inspiration or stealing stuff. I watched this night. There's a knife fight scene at the end of Man from Nowhere. It's one of the best action sequences I've ever seen in my life.
Korean movies over the last 20, 30 years have really are really up there. They're so good.
This one's one of my favorite movies. And so I stole that scene. Yeah, you'll know when you get to the scene. You're like, oh yeah, this is what inspired Larry to write that knife fight at a dinner party. There's not at a dinner party in the movie, but like, oh my gosh, this knife fight is such a good fight scene, so good. Yeah. And actually, the name of the bad guy in Man from Nowhere, I used in Son of the Black Sword. I took his name, and for people who've read both, you'll know it when you see it. And I totally stole that.
Oh, by the way, my favorite criticism of you that I read online was how you're a horrible racist that doesn't like brown people, and he named the Book of the Black Sun, called it out as an example of your racism.
There's no white people in it.
I know.
It's literally.
They're all Hindus. They're all from Pakistan or India or somewhere.
Yeah, genetically, everybody in there would be from India.
Yeah, that's why I really like this criticism.
Southeast Asia. If you were to make Son of the Black Sword into a movie, it would need to be done by Bollywood.
Yeah.
So that one, I'm like, that one's baffling to me.
I'm not defending them. I'm just entertained by them.
I had one of those criticisms from one of these psychopaths.
Well, here's one. How about this? Your hero was only killing brown people in it.
Well, I mean, he'd kill anybody else if they presented the opportunity.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he's not like he's judgmental. He just kills everybody. Okay, I had one criticism. They said, well, at the beginning of Son of the Black Sword, Larry Correia has the main character's eating a rice ball, and that just shows he's racist because he thinks that all Asians are the same.
Cultural appropriation. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's like, and he just assumes that all Asians are the same, and that Indians would have rice balls. My response to this review was the Google image search for Indian rice ball recipes.
Yeah,
it was like 18 pages. Because I'm sorry, every culture on Earth that has rice has at some point found a way to squeeze it into a convenient ball.
Yes, even the Italians, right?
Yeah, I know. Everybody.
Everyone does it.
And the other one is everybody has some sort of dough with meat in it fried. We all do. Everybody does.
Every nation has invented the burrito.
Yeah, every nation has some version of this. Whether it's the pierogi or the the wonton, it doesn't matter. We've all done this. Yep. But that was like, oh, he's so racist. He thinks Indians have rice.
What? Has he never eaten in an Indian restaurant?
Even if they this in my fantasy world, they happen to grow rice.
They're lucky to have rice.
Rice is great. I couldn't believe that was the criticism. And like, I mean, if I'd had him eating noodles, he probably would have got upset too. I don't know. What's wrong? They're eating bread. Yes, I think every culture has bread. Oh my gosh. These people they're idiots. They just want to complain and yell at you.
So now they're complaining. Now the guy's hungry for rice because he's we're talking about racist stuff.
I had rice for lunch.
I made my dad. I have to cook for my dad now. I made him a quinoa rice, brown rice mix, and put falafel patties on top.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And my dad didn't like the falafel because he's too old. But my mom, who's almost as old, loved the falafel, and my wife loved it so much she ate all the extra pieces, so I didn't get any.
My wife loves falafel too. So
it's great stuff. I remember going on my mission in 1976 in California and seeing ads for falafel, FALAF, and I'm like, what is it a building material? I couldn't figure out what it was. And that's where I first found falafel. So good times.
Yeah,
I'm so old. Good. I was eating pizza before it got delivered. You had to go to a pizza place, and
I grew up in the country, so we didn't get delivery pizza. We didn't get delivery anything where I grew up. And now where I live, there's no delivery food here either. So
well, where are you now? Are you up by Logan or?
I don't like to say too specifically on the internet, but I am.
That makes sense. Yeah.
What's
the next university to you? Big university.
Weber State.
Okay.
But I'm on the other side of the mountains. But I'm between Logan and Ogden on the other side. We'll put it that way.
Okay, they say that the racism would be if you showed Ashok eating vindaloo. I'm not sure why that would be racist because Ashok is like Indian descent.
Well, the funny thing is the Portuguese vindaloo actually comes from the Portuguese.
I know, it wasn't invented by the Indians. It was because it has pork.
Yeah, it was my people invented vindaloo. And it was actually one of my ancestors was on Vasco da Gama's voyage to India.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, Gaspar Correia was on the crew. So if anybody can give cultural appropriation points for vindaloo, it's me.
That's fair. Well, I have to figure out an ancestor of mine that's cool. Oh, here's one. I have a guy that was at Lexington.
Oh, that's cool. That's badass.
And two people not related that were on the Mayflower. But my wife.
You're probably related to my wife then, because my wife goes back to that. She had ancestors on the Mayflower.
My wife has one that. What's the previous settlement at the field? James Island.
Or Jonestown.
Johnstown. My wife has one that was at Johnstown, but then she left before it was eaten by monsters, which is, as we all know, is what happened to it. So I have used the whole Roanoke Croatoan thing in the Lost Planet Homicide series. So I have a series on Audible where this colony ship gets lost. Basically, wow.
They renamed the ship the Roanoke because they have a grim sense of humor, and they find a planet to land on. The planet really sucks, like it sucks, and they call it Croatoan. Is what they named the planet. So
Well,
yeah, I embrace that. I love that stuff.
Matthew Bowman, who made the joke about Ashok Eden Vindaloo, he wants to get it on this. One of his ancestors was killed by Andrew Jackson in a duel, so that's pretty cool. And another was executed cool. by the French because he was a duke. So serves him right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
My French ancestors bailed from France when Cardinal Richelieu decided it was time to crush the Protestants. Now, my ancestors weren't Protestants. They were minor nobility who sided with the Protestants for purely selfish political power, as far as I can tell. But then they had to run away when their side lost.
Which, with losing to Richelieu, it's time to go.
Yeah. Well, there's no shame in losing to Richelieu. That guy was smart.
No, it's also like there's no shame in losing a duel to Andrew Jackson. That was a dangerous man.
That's like I fought Andrew Jackson, and of course he killed me. But what do you expect, right? It's like if you get in a duel with Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, like I said, if you had like a fight club for all the presidents, Andrew Jackson very possibly is going to win this one. That man was a killer.
The last two standing are going to be Jackson and Roosevelt, and then.
Roosevelt was a fighter. Jackson was a killer, though.
No, I agree. I'm Jackson may well win, right? But actually, George Washington was a huge guy that was pretty stalwart.
Oh yeah, and a combat vet and an experienced combatant.
Yeah. Lincoln was big, but he was mostly a wrestler, not a shooter.
Yeah, like if you put Jackson versus Lincoln, Jackson's going to kill Lincoln. Yeah. But Lincoln's a big dude. Lincoln was almost my size.
Instead of fighting with guns or knives, Lincoln has a chance.
Oh yeah. If it's just hand to hand, Lincoln's got a chance. If there's guns involved, Jackson's going to kill everybody.
Oh, Geek Karate Media, we're talking about Teddy Roosevelt, not Franklin. Franklin would lose any fight to any president.
Yeah, Franklin, no chance. Franklin, no chance. Especially if you took them in the prime of their lives, even then Franklin would still lose.
Yeah.
But Teddy would be dangerous. Teddy was a tough dude.
He was a tough dude.
And a boxer. And a really good boxer.
Yes, and he had a son eaten by a saltwater crocodile. That's pretty cool.
That's actually really bad.
He vanished in New Guinea, so it was either eaten by the Fori tribesman or a saltwater crocodile, right? Oh yeah. Teddy did give a speech after he was shot because that was his way.
Which is pretty badass.
It's pretty badass.
That's pretty hardcore. Yeah. Of modern presidents, they're all getting their butts kicked by the 1800s guys.
Well, Reagan would look the best pretending to be a tough guy.
Oh yeah, Reagan could make a convincing tough guy. Actually, Gerald Ford was fairly tough physically.
He was probably tougher than Reagan. Actually, just he wasn't.
Yeah, and Ford played college football. I mean, he was a pretty tough dude.
I mean, you could have Lincoln win by stabbing people in the back when they're getting ready for the fight. Not Lincoln, Nixon.
Well, they were all lawyers. They're all lawyers, so they're all going to lawyer up.
Reagan was not a lawyer.
That's true. They weren't all lawyers,
and
but they
Jimmy
were just
Carter
overwhelmingly
wasn't a lawyer,
lawyers.
so it doesn't mean that all non-lawyers are good. Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer, which was just ludicrous.
See, we're saying all this, and like it'd probably be like Taft would come in and like as the dark horse at the end and just like body slam somebody.
It's possible, or Cleveland, right?
Well, Taft was the heaviest. If we could teach Taft some jiu-jitsu and get Taft smash passing, he could take it.
What did you want to teach him? Sumo? I mean, I remember Taft walked into the ocean and other people said, "Okay, out of the ocean, Mr. Taft is using it."
I love the fact that he had to put a bigger bathtub in the White House.
I know, that was great. I gotta say, if Taft was alive today running for president, he would get my vote, though. So,
I couldn't, at this point in time, I couldn't even tell you what Taft was for. It's been so long. I used to know this when I wrote Grimoire, I had to like do all this study of the 1930s. But I've written so many books since, or period leading up to the 1930s, so that would have included early 1900s. But I've had to write so many books since then that like all the trivia portions of my brain have been like overwritten.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the bad thing about Taft is he made Roosevelt mad, so he formed the Bull Moose Party, and so Woodrow Wilson got to win, and that was.
And now that's a guy who in our fight club would need to get his butt kicked right out the gate.
I want to see him lose every fight.
Yeah, Woodrow Wilson sucked.
Also, he would whine about it.
Yeah, he'd whine about it. That guy was a jerk.
He was. And when I was growing up, they kept saying he was cool, and I couldn't see it as a kid even. Also, when I was growing up was at the time when all the school books taught that Reconstruction was a bad thing, and the radical Republicans were bad, and we should have gone with Andrew Johnson's plan of being nice to all this pro South propaganda crap. It ruled the history books from the 1880 to about 1970. And now, of course, that's all overturned and good riddance to it. But even as a kid, it's like, why are these guys bad? You know?
Yeah, Wilson gave us income tax.
Yeah.
Which, as a former accountant, damn him to hell forever for that.
Yeah. Oh, just a second.
That alone.
I gotta tell my wife something. Wendy, can you check on my dad? He tried to call me. He might need food. Sorry. Got a call on my phone from my dad. Probably wants me to feed him. I made him teriyaki vegetables the other day. He can eat those. Or leftover falafel.
If there is any falafel left over.
There may not be. My mom liked it. My wife liked it. He was too weird for him, I guess.
It's probably long gone.
Well, I know we still have teriyaki shrimp and vegetables. He likes really simple. Yeah. Well, look, he and my mom grew up in the Midwest, so you can imagine the kind of cuisine they were raised doing. I have grown beyond that, and I love. Of course, I got to live in Texas, which has like a lot of cuisines meet. That you got Louisiana stuff, you got the Tex-Mex stuff, you got barbecue. And then Texas you got the German influence with like chicken fried steak and stuff.
Texas has got good food. They got Czech influence there too. They got German influence.
Well, yeah. Well, every donut shop in Dallas has kolaches.
Oh yeah, they've got incredible Mexican food. Oh. And then you got Southern cooking. The closer you get to Houston.
Yep.
And
Dallas,
I liked it.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's Texas.
Barbecue.
Texas is
you have to get barbecue.
Well, yeah, every southern state has its own unique barbecue, and then you have to pick which one is the best. But it's Texas.
I am agnostic. I don't pick any of them. I don't pick any of them because I like all of them.
That Kansas City is the worst. You're acceptable.
I like Kansas City barbecue too,
that
though.
Sweet ketchupy sauce, gross.
They do go sauce heavy. But I actually really like Kansas. I like Carolina barbecue. I like Alabama barbecue with the white sauce too.
I've never tried the white sauce.
Yeah, I'm all over the board, man. I just like, you smoke some meat, I'm there.
Even Maryland, which is only technically southern, has their pit beef. Where basically you get a knob of beef the size of your head that's black on the outside, and
I'm smoking a pork butt on Saturday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, because Saturday is general conference and then UFC fights. It's a UFC night. And my family, we always get the pay-per-view and watch UFC because we're MMA nerds. And so I'm smoking some pork butt.
Now I want to watch it at your house now because you're.
Oh, dude. Pork butt nuggets. Oh, my gosh. It's like eating meat candy. It's like eating candy bars made of meat.
So I go to Germany almost every year to go to a convention called Tentacles. Or the Kraken, rather. The Kraken. And one year, the guy that owns the place cooked a whole suckling pig for us. And that was something I'd never... on a wooden plank with sauerkraut. It was very German. Awesome. And I was like, yeah, the Germans know what to do with the suckling pig, it turned out. It wasn't barbecue, it was German.
I knew a guy from Fiji, and we one time cooked a whole pig in the ground. So we dug a pit and lined it with lava rocks and banana leaves, and then put the pig in it, and then covered it, and then cooked it underground all day.
Isn't that what they do in Hawaii too, at a luau?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was actually, yeah, so it was amazing.
So did the skin, was it soft or was it crispy?
Soft. Huh. But I didn't actually wind up with any skin. But the meat I had was like just fall apart.
Cool. Okay, so here's the place. Next time you're in Dallas, here's the place to go. CBD, the letters, Provisions. Okay. They do a half Berkshire hog head barbecued. Okay. So you get it out, and it shows the half of the head on the plate. It's for like 4 or 5 people. The skin all cut into squares, crisped, ready to go, along with tortillas, radish salad, and 2 kinds of salsa. And then everyone just like goes into the head, And as you eat it, of course, it becomes more and more horrifying. But I took it. I had like 12-year-old girls with me, and they were like, "This is the best food ever." So CBD provisions. You may have to call ahead of time to make sure they have a pig's head, but it's one of their signature dishes. And
that's badass.
it is really awesome. You can see pictures.
I ate a pig head in in Prague, and because he ordered like the craziest thing off the menu because the American. When I travel abroad, I always tell people they're like, well, what do you eat? And I was like, well, I'll eat anything. And they say, well, Americans always say that, but they don't mean it. And I was like, test me. And so I'm the guy that'll eat anything. And so they brought me out a pig face. It was like literally a pig face. And I'm eating it. And my wife's looking at it. And my wife's kind of grossed out. And it's actually pretty tasty. It's like it was good.
Well, yeah.
But it was horrible to look at. And so I'm eating it. And my wife's like, she's like, that's just gross. You can't eat that. And I was like, honey, I got to eat this. I got to eat the whole snout for America. And I actually put that line in a Monster Hunter novel later.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where we had to eat the whole snout for America.
Say, the snout was not my favorite part of the Berkshire pig's head. A lot of cartilage in that.
It was, but it was kind of, I will say most of it was, but then again, I like cabeza tacos, so I can't get too.
Well, the thing about the pig's head is that by the time you get a taco and you eat it, and then you go for another one, and like the jowl's gone now. You got to go for the forehead. So every taco you have is like a different meat, as you're fighting with the other people for your food. But we went
to a taco place the other day that had all the different kinds of taco, like every taco you could think of, and I ordered all of them. Right?
That's the good place.
So I was there with my kids, and my daughter, my second daughter, was all like, she's like, I haven't tried tongue, I haven't tried lingua. And she's like, which one's lingua? And you can't tell by looking at them, right? And so we're just eating tacos, and I take a bite, and it's got such a distinct taste. I take one bite, like, there's your. And I like gave it right to her. It's like that's the one, because it has a texture that is unlike anything else.
It's the only food you taste that tastes you back.
Oh, it does, and it was really good. It was a place in Salt Lake called Tacos El Lopez in Salt Lake, or it's in like West Valley City, I think.
Usually the way they do it in Texas is they have a list of all the meats for your tacos, and then there's like the list, and then there's Spanish, here's English, then there's 5 or 6 more Spanish words that aren't translated because they know that like tripa, lengua, cabeza. They think if you're enough into Mexican food as an American to want those, you'll know the name.
Yeah, if you're a gringo ordering that, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like tripa though. I'm not a tripa guy. I'm not into that.
I tried multiple times to enjoy it, and I failed every time. Even had it in France at this fancy place, and it just like,
nope.
I guess you got to eat it like White Castle burgers. You got to eat it when you're little to get into it.
Yeah, I'm not into it. Nope. That's the one that I'm like, oh, I'm good.
So Wilhelm von Juntz wants to know how it is for a shoggoth lord to live deep in the heart of Texas. It is paradise for a shoggoth, Friedrich. It's the best place ever to be a shoggoth. So as you know, Mr. Shiny, the proto-shoggoths, they take the form of slightly overweight, burly guys with bald heads. So here we are, proto-shoggoths.
It works.
So it's kind of funny. The Lovecraft stories, they talk about the shoggoths as being these semi-intelligent masses of protoplasm. But if you read the story, like the shoggoths can read and write, and build buildings, and like, of course, the old ones think that they're semi-intelligent, but they probably think humans are too. So, well, you had Mr. Trashbags, basically be smart,
Yeah, Mr. Trashbags is one of my more popular characters. He's got an interesting take on the shoggoth.
Yes.
Just in
another case where you went in and I was opposed to having a friendly shoggoth, then you won me over. So I guess those are the things I'm most loyal to. When I go in expecting to not like something and I do, then I stick with it.
He's just wound up being such a great character. And then later on, he makes his return as basically because he got burned to a crisp, so all that's left is like this much.
That's all.
He's like the size of a. Yeah, so he's a pocket shoggoth, Oh my gosh, he's so funny in that. And he's just eating people, trying to be helpful.
Yep. So, June's, I don't know if we've read anything by Michael Shea.
No, Michael Shea?
Shea.
No.
So he has sadly passed away, but he was writing really great horror and fantasy stories in the 80s and 90s. including a short horror story called Fat Face about a shoggoth, which is really good. But he wrote really good, very Lovecraftian stuff. I would recommend if you're looking at all for other fantasy things to read, Michael Shea is a thing. So Jason M. and Frost. I have Planet Apocalypse items for sale at Sandy Petersen at petersengames.com. And we're working diligently on getting the rest of them out. Yeah, like here's an example. Michael Shea did a book called The Color Out of Time, and it takes place in Arkham, like in modern times after the Color Out of Space happened in the 20s. So the Color Out of Space, remember there was one that didn't go back into space at the end of the story, so it's there.
Cool.
So, nice little callback to that.
Yeah, I haven't read him. There was a Lovecraftian story from an author, and I want to say it was like Browning Spencer or something like that. And he wrote a couple novels, and then I never heard of the guy again. But he had a Lovecraftian one. It's called I think it was called Resume with Monsters, and it was a really good book. It was like a fun book, and it was a very Lovecraftian book. And I never saw the guy again. Like he wrote a couple books and then just vanished.
Yeah. We've lost a lot of those guys. I loved Carl Edward Wagner. He's gone. I guess I'm 70. I'm not going to last forever. But I'm in good health, and I'm LDS, so I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't even drink White Monsters, though I do drink Dr. Pepper. Here I got what's this one? Cream soda, Dr. Pepper. So
I'm 50 and I figure I got another 30 novels in me before I die.
Yeah, I'm expecting to make it to 90 because my parents did. You still have like non-gray in your beard. I keep telling my wife I'm getting blonder. That's my argument. And
I have a mustache. There's in a couple spots that are still brown. Everything else is.
As you get older, your beard starts getting really multicolored, and then it gradually washes out again. So
if I had any hair left, my hair is like all gray. There's like no.
Yeah, I just shave it because.
Yeah, I just shave it. I couldn't tell you what color my hair is anyway. Once a month, I shave my head.
So we have talked for 2 hours, and I've really enjoyed this. You've got my email, and I have yours. Let's be in touch and see if we actually want to get together and do a hyperspace role-playing adventure.
Oh, I'd play with you again anytime. That was fun last time going down to Sandy and playing that. I had a great time.
It was a lot of fun. We will see what we can do. I'll see if I can get my 15-year-old granddaughter in on it because she's very interested in role-playing games, and she's cute besides, So
awesome.
And thank you so much. If you have something final you want to say, like plug the Kickstarter, here's your chance.
Yeah, so for the guys that are watching, I got 2 things going on right now. Check out the Kickstarter. It's American Paladin on Kickstarter. Or coming out next week, I have a book called Academy of Outcasts, which is a new series, a new fantasy series, and it's a lot of fun. So that'll be out Tuesday. So check those out. And, hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, I've really enjoyed it. We should do this again next year. And I also want to say, so my thing is I have a Patreon at Sandy of Cthulhu where I do an essay once a week, and then twice a month I do a game thing, and then once a month I download an STL of an awesome 3D figure. And you can also find me on X, as you're probably aware, and where I write about old video games that I worked on because I did 25 years in the trenches. And Larry Correia, I got to say that when I knew I was going to play a game with Larry Correia, back in February, I think it was, they said, we got a game with Larry Correia. I said, I got to look up who this guy is. So I looked up and said, I guess I'll read something by him. So I got Monster Hunter International, and it hooked me. It was so good. I read the whole thing before we did. Then after the game, I said, I want to read more by him. But you didn't have any other Monster Hunter books, so I had to read Book of the Black Sword. But then I like that too. So I've been really reluctant to read fantasy because so much fantasy is like really terrible. Yeah.
Mine's pretty good.
Mr. Hartman, the STLs are free if you are on the Patreon. So you got to pay for the Patreon, but then you get the STLs. So if you joined it now, you get all the STLs I've done for all this year, and you would have Cthulhu flying through space and monolith monsters. But anyway, let's get together. And so long, all. Thank you for going in with us, and we appreciate and love our fans. At least I do.
Me too.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Take care.